gardening friends. Joe here. I'm having a live with Bec from Munash this morning. So I'm just going to try and add her on. Just give me a second while I try and add her. Oh, here we go. Hi, Bec. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. I'm glad that worked like so easily. Sometimes it's just a hassle trying to connect.
Absolutely. That's why I'm inside because we don't get much good coverage here in the we're in a hill. So inside is much better to connect for a
Yeah,
live.
you
So
have to find the
sorry.
spot.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me. Keith Edwards first introduced me to your wonderful rock dust, probably,
Yeah.
maybe like 6 months ago. And obviously, we all love Keith. And when he recommended your rock dust, we then really connected
Yeah,
after that as well. And
we
we've been
did.
chatting along the way. And I just wanted to use this opportunity to share a little bit about your rock dust and soil health and, giving back goodness to your soil, for your next crop and for your vegetables and your plants to be healthy. So thank you so much for finding time to speak with us.
Sorry. Fine. Sorry, I'm cleaning my glasses.
No, you're right. And look, as you know, I'm a beginner
Yeah.
to gardening, and I'm probably a year in. And I know a lot of our followers on Henley's Rustics are very new as well. So
Yep.
just having your rock dust and soil health spoken from you,
Yeah.
I think would be better than me trying to thumble my way through. Like I'm like, use it, and it's good minerals. But to hear some bit more of a background from you would be fantastic. Yeah.
And I think it's so lovely to hear from the story too, like how it's made, because, and I think that's why we connected so well, Joe's, because like we both work with our
Our dad.
dad,
So I know,
and I don't think it's just a blessing, isn't it?
isn't
It's
it?
so lovely, and my dad's now semi-retired, and like he just comes on the road with me, but it doesn't do any sort of the day to day, and he's the one that really led this movement of rock minerals a bazillion years ago. So he was way before his time. So I can't wait to tell you that story.
Oh, yes, please do. And I love seeing your post about how you've just been on the road with your dad and done all those town trips. Like, so special.
Yeah,
Those memories are so
absolutely.
special. Yes. Yeah, so do you
Indeed.
want to do like I'd love to talk a little bit about like your story and about your rock dust and wherever it goes and soil health. So did you want to talk a little bit about how it all came about?
Yeah, definitely. So we grew up on a organic farm. So we originally from the Mallee, so big wheat farm, 3,500 acres where all around us was literally just super chemicals, all that sort of stuff. And dad had wonderful foresight to go, hang on, there has to be something better here. There has to be another way to grow food. And he packed us all up and moved us to Ballarat. And he found a 150-acre farm that had never had chemicals used on it before. And he went to, this was 40 plus years ago, and he went to town to go, there has to be a different way to grow things. And we just happened to land on beautiful volcanic soils, where we had a beautiful volcano at the back and we could start to grow things. And that led dad to question, how come we can grow things in
Yeah,
this soil and other people can't?
yeah,
And then obviously went down the path of there's something here with minerals that are so key to high fertility, better plant resistance. There wasn't as much disease and all those sorts of things taking place in what we were growing. And I think that's why we love connecting with newbies, because we were once that too. Like we had no idea what we were doing.
yeah.
Dad just said, "Hey, let's grow all veggies now for the Melbourne market." So we went to the market every month, and we sold all brassicas, and we had no idea what we were doing. We just started, and I think that's what Dad always sort of instilled in us, was just have a go,
Yeah.
because you learn so much more through doing with your hands. And so that's what we teach a lot with soil health, is to really not fear having a go. And we all kill things, like that's just the nature of plant world. As much as we can be the best at what we do, something will always happen. Um, but yeah, once Dad sort of got onto the mineral bandwagon, he then went to find other people that could help him formulate our product. And he couldn't find anyone at that point. So he teamed up with this geologist and went, I've just got this crazy idea that I think topsoils were actually formed from these volcanic minerals. How can we replicate my soils for everyone else? And Dad was really passionate too about helping farmers because he's struggled himself. And he wanted to make a product that was so simplistic yet so complicated to make. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? So
Yes, yes,
we've
yes.
got like he's done all the science, all
He's done all
all
the
the back.
hard work and then we get to use it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's so beautiful for beginners because of that
Yeah.
fact. Um, yeah, and so now we basically partner with a beautiful quarry just around Bendigo, and we bring in all of our deposits of minerals. So we don't specifically mine. These minerals are what's called man sand, and they're actually already been ground down for other things. And we actually get to specifically test, and we know the different deposits, they know what we're after. And we bring all those back together. And what Dad created was this catalyst to actually bring the three rocks back together. Because normally, what would happen is the volcano would erupt, out come the ash and lava, and that's what formed topsoils. But when you're putting them back together, because of all the magnetic, they repel. So we had to formulate a catalyst to bring all those back together. So now you get all the full array of all of the trace elements and minerals back into soil, which is what originally was in our soils millions and
Yeah.
millions of years ago.
Wow.
So we're replenishing, we're rejuvenating, we're remineralizing soils that way. Yeah.
Yeah, how and it's just so amazing, and Victoria must be just a really great volcanic area because I know even the scoria rock that comes like to New
Yes.
South Wales is mainly from Victoria.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're really onto something good down there.
Definitely. And that, so Dad has tested all the rocks all over Australia. And there's this specific line of where these volcanoes are erupted that actually are the highest, from our testing, the highest mineral array that we now bring into our products. So, and they're a softer rock here in Victoria as well.
Yeah,
So that
okay.
means that once they're actually added to the soil, they're broken down quicker. They're more plant
And
available and they're already. So,
and
yeah,
it feels so soft. Here I've got
yeah,
a bucket here, and
yeah.
it's like it's such a beautiful texture. It's not rocky at all. It's like
No,
it's nearly like a powder.
that's the whole plan.
Like
Yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah,
and it
literally.
mixes
So,
through so well.
and
Um,
so you've got the finer dust that goes to work. So that's plant ready, that's plant available, that's going straight in, ready to feed all the plants and microbes in the soil. But then we also give the little 2 millimeter ones as well because we don't want to give back. So we want to make sure that's breaking down slow release over time as well. That is repairing the soil, rejuvenating the soil, feeding microbes.
right.
Because our goal with minerals is to increase the biology. It's really what we found out was microbes thrive on minerals. And so if we want to increase all of that soil fertility, soil biology, all the workers underneath literally bringing all of the nutrients to the plants, we need to feed them. We need to keep them happy. So
Yeah.
rock minerals do that as well.
And I love that, like, because we're always on the hunt for the best compost and the best soil to use, and it's really hard sometimes to find this certified organic. And so some people are working with like low poor quality soil to a whole
Yeah,
range, but at least if you're using the rock dust, you know that you're getting some goodness in there, and you're building on something that you already have. And
yeah,
as a very beginner, like day one Joe didn't even know you had to replenish after
yeah,
each crop. Like didn't know,
yeah,
just thought
yeah,
dirt. And then obviously now I know that, well, the plants use all that up in their growing, and some are real feed hungry type of plants, and
yeah,
you really need to replenish before you put more your next crop in.
yeah,
So like that is like huge just in itself to really understand that and what the rock dust actually is doing, and how like that little combination
yeah.
together with the soil with your rock dust is what it's doing and making it alive again.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you're right. We focus so much on compost, which is amazing. Don't get me wrong. We need it. It's beautiful organic matter. It's home for all soil biology. It provides nutrients, all those sorts of things. But we forget that minerals have a place in soil, and they're actually made, like topsoil is literally formed from minerals. And if we don't have that ingredient in the soil, we lack. So we don't, we lack too. So it's really
Yeah.
important to understand that what we consume is what we've put in the soil. So if we haven't put all this beautiful array of all these minerals, we don't get them in our food. And that's what we're starting to see with a lot of our food. It's not as nutrient dense. It doesn't taste as good. It's not as sweet. And literally, it is this one simple thing of putting the minerals back into the soil. You actually increase the health and vitality of soil, but you increase the health and vitality of plants. Then animals that are feeding off pasture, and then us, like it all goes along the line. And it's just so crucial that we take a step back and really understand why we need to have minerals in our system, and back into the soil. And it's not just about putting one or two things in there. So, obviously NPK, wonderful, absolutely. We need the nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium to make things grow. 100% we do. But we also need the finer things like magnesium and zinc and boron. And if we can sort of think about our bodies, we need magnesium for energy, don't we? Like we can be really tired if we don't have some iron and things like that as well. So we don't just eat based upon a couple of little things. We're told to eat on a really well balanced diet as well. And so the way Dad always taught us was, when you're talking about healthy soil, talk about the body, because it's exactly the same. If you're
Yeah.
about to start this whole new garden bed, it's similar to, okay, I'm going to start a health kick and I'm going to eat all of the good things, all of the whole foods. I'm going to make sure I've got, all of my protein right and my carbohydrates. And I'm going to make sure that I've got my probiotics and all those sorts of things. And I'm going to really have a go at this because I've got everything that I need to nourish my body. And we need to think of the same with soil. We've got to give it everything we can to nourish the soil as well. And it literally is just as simple as putting a handful of rock dust, the minerals, into the soil, because
Yeah,
that's
and
what it is.
I did read it's like just one handful per meter square.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I've got little
It's
hands, so I'd probably take a big,
and
a
that's
real
it
big scoop.
though.
But I love the way of thinking about the body as well, because like we're all people walking
Yeah,
around, but how healthy are the people walking around? It would depend on how well you're eating, the
yeah,
vitamins and minerals you're having. And same with our garden beds. Like you might grow a vegetable, but what's actually the nutrients in
yeah,
that? Like I read a study, and I can't remember any figures, but over like all the generations, how it's becoming less and less and less nutrients within that
yeah,
vegetable, and hardly any nutrients left,
yeah,
even though it looks like a vegetable,
yeah.
even though we look like people. Like how healthy
Exactly.
are we?
Exactly right. And
Yeah.
we're not,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But I think we're starting to question. I actually think we're starting to connect more. And I do think that there is a beautiful movement of us questioning now what is in our food system, what is going into our soil. Um, and that's what Dad, he was just before his time, way before his time. And now I get to reap those rewards, which is hard, but
We
it's,
all do. We all
I
get to. Well,
know.
good on him. Thank you.
Oh, especially
And
like,
yeah,
yeah,
and it's funny because even this morning, like I was feeling a bit run down, and
yeah,
I actually, I'm a bit slack with taking vitamins and things, but I did go and get like this woman's vitamin out, and I got magnesium out, like because I could feel myself like a bit run
yeah,
down. Like it's the same. Like your garden beds can't say like, help me, really, can they?
exactly.
So we need to
No.
just keep doing that. Yeah. So and when you're applying it, so it's the handful in it, but and how? Because I read it as well. You just need to basically water it. You don't really have to mix it through.
No, so it's the same principle. So if you think when volcanoes erupted, out come ash and lava, those minerals sat on top and they drew through the soil profile naturally. And that's the same analogy. So we're recreating that in our gardens. So you're spreading it out on top, if that makes sense. And literally it pulls through the soil profile naturally, the way it was intended to do
You're out.
thousands, billions of years ago. And because it is non-soluble, so you can't like obviously water it in because that wakens up the microbes. They're like, hey, oh my God, there's food here. Yay. They go and obviously start munching on it, which is wonderful. But it won't water through and won't water out. So
Yeah.
it stays in your soil now for the coming months, continually feeding all of the plants that are in that soil, feeding all the microbiology as well. Which is great for us who are newbies. You don't have to keep thinking, oh my God, has I got enough food in this crop? All those sorts of things. But also, we're really time poor at the moment too. We've got so much to do with kids, life, balance, all those sorts of things. So we wanted to create this product that we knew you could literally fling it out on top, job done. I can now go and have a cup of tea, or those make it so simple and easy to use. That obviously, it's got all these amazing health benefits, but we also wanted to make sure that everyone felt comfortable and easy to use it as well.
So
So
easy.
yeah,
And so you would do that before each crop, or do you reapply during the growth period?
you can reapply during the growth period. Obviously, super important to get it into the soil first.
Yeah.
I really love to get it in at least a week or two
Yeah,
before, because you
I've got
want,
two beds. That's why I'm
yeah,
sitting in front of my empty bed, because I'm
yeah.
about to redo like the top of these ones, replenish these garden beds ready for the autumn crops coming up. What else do you suggest to go into this? Is there any other really important things besides the rock dust that you kind of an advocate for?
Well, I guess when we talk about healthy soil, we always think of the three principles. So it's physical, biological, and chemistry, chemical. So even like we do this out on farms, if we're looking at a soil test, we look at those three principles. So the physical is, let's talk about the structure. Have we got the structure out of the soil? Do we have the right balance of compost versus garden soil going into it? And we want to just make sure we're checking with that. And that's literally just digging in and, does it feel aerated? Is it compacted? Can I sort of squish it in my hand and it sort of stays sort of tight, but it's not, really, really tight. Smell your soil too, because that is a game changer, because it should smell
Before you
earthly.
put who flung dung on it, though.
Yes, definitely. Before you put manure on, this is the base. Or you could if you really wanted
Yeah.
to, but but give it a smell, because that's building that structure. So obviously compost mixed with garden soil is crucial, definitely. And then obviously biological. So we need to make sure, do we have microbes? Do we have all the beautiful bacteria, fungi, all those sorts of things happening in the soil? And if we don't, we need to add things in. So that can be with worm castings. I'm a big fan of bacillus seaweed liquids. And we're making some of those now, because we've been doing heaps of
Great.
tests on minerals and microbes, just work hand in hand like best friends. And the only thing that our rock minerals doesn't have is nitrogen. And that's because it's a natural made product.
Yeah.
So the nitrogen source comes from the seaweed. So
Okay,
naturally through
gotcha.
the seaweed and the bacillus. And they've got beautiful amino acids, enzymes, all the functions to
Mm.
not only take all of the nutrients you're putting in, but digest it and then, spread it out to where it needs to go. So definitely a fan of making sure that the biological is there as well. And then obviously it's your chemistry. So it's your rock minerals, making sure that we've got all of those food nutrients into the soil to make sure it's going. So that's kind of like my little rule of
Yeah,
three, is like,
okay.
okay, have I got those three
Yeah.
right? If I
I'm glad
have,
you're going to make the seaweed product. That's
yes,
exciting.
yeah.
Yeah,
We've been testing and trialing. So everything
that's
we
great.
do, hand on heart, it takes us
Yeah,
a number of years, because we want to make sure that what we're putting out to the
sounds
world
good.
is spot
Yeah,
on, works really well. And the only other thing is, obviously air. You need to have aeration and stuff in your soil, because if it's compacted, unfortunately, like, roots can't go down, they
yeah,
can't access the nutrients. So making sure that you've got that structure right. Water, obviously, is a big thing. It's same with we need to eat really well, we need to breathe clean air, we need to drink, we need to hydrate. And intent, energy is really key within what we do. So, sometimes if we're doing all the right things, but we feel really zonked and tired, how you're saying you had the magnesium,
yeah,
it means
yeah,
we're not functioning right, is
yeah.
it? So we need to really look at energetic levels as well. And so our rock minerals actually has paramagnetic energy in it as well. So paramagnetic energy is literally like it's like the life force of the earth, if this
Yeah.
makes sense. It's like
Wow.
this little hum, this
Yeah,
little energy that takes place underneath the soil. Similar to us, we feel energy, feel tired, I want to feel better, all those sorts of things. Um, and it's like these little blanket of magnetism underneath the earth. And rock minerals are a beautiful source of product that have that in it. And so when we're adding that to our soil, we're giving it a refresh of energy. We're connecting better with the earth, if that makes sense, in a more harmonious way. And that means that we can, pull roots down further. We can connect with that energy and literally harness them down further into the earth and create more root systems. And the vitality of the plant increases as well. And the way we can test for that is like Brix levels. I don't know if you've ever heard of Brix measurements before, which is literally just the sugars in our
Yeah,
plants.
okay.
And so rock minerals increases the sugar content. And when you increase that sugar content, so that natural sugar content means that your veggies taste better, they look better. But pest and disease can't actually function in a state where that is a higher level.
Right.
So it's actually a really natural pest and disease deterrent, if that makes sense, because we're building it's kind of like our immune system. If we build our immune system really,
Yeah,
really
that
well,
makes sense.
we don't get as sick. And so we're doing that with the paramagnetic energy within the minerals of rock dust as well. So similar to, Keith talks about moon gardening,
Yeah.
which is beautiful. And, so obviously the waves come in and out, there's an energy that's connecting with the moon. There's also an energy that's connecting with the earth and the soil. And that's what we're working with, is the energy that's working within the
I'm
earth.
glad you
And
brought that
then,
up, because Keith told me, oh, make sure you ask her about the force, and you
yes,
just covered all that, because it's so powerful, and you can't see it, but there's just so much happening behind the
yeah,
scenes. And
yeah,
like, yeah, that's why I love speaking to like Keith and yourself through this video, is that like, there is so much science behind it. It's not just
massive.
you're putting some rock dust in your garden bed. Like there's a
Yeah.
reason why.
Oh my God. And we
Yeah.
could go on a whole masterclass
Yeah.
of this, the North and South Pole, they're actually magnets.
Yeah.
And that's how, like, when you got the earth and like these beautiful energies run from these magnets, and we're
Yeah.
connecting into that. So there's so much science and data behind it. But basically, if you've got a more energized soil, a more healthier soil, similar to us, we feel energetic, we're better functioning, aren't we? We are just better
Absolutely.
humans. We've got clearer minds. We can do so much more, and we are literally just doing that same process back into the soil, is what the rock minerals is doing. So yeah,
And I love
it's a game
that. Like,
changer.
and thank you everyone for joining in on the live as well. Like, for people to take the time to understand the rock dust and soil health, but at a beginner level, it's like, you might not remember all the terminology and all the things, but you just know that you're putting it in
Yeah,
there at beginner level or base level. You make sure that you're doing that, but there's all this information of why you're doing it,
yeah,
like behind the scenes, which I love. And I don't want to forget as well about putting in your compost
yeah,
to
yeah,
get that, activate your compost,
yeah.
and wake that up.
And the reason being is obviously compost is it's heat, isn't it? We're trying to create a process where things are breaking down really quick, and so the rock minerals accelerate that process. So we're feeding all of that biological life in the compost to actually literally accelerate the compost to break down quicker. But we're also feeding the minerals, which then make the microbes and the biology in that compost as well, which means you get better aeration. It doesn't smell as much. You're cooking it at a much better and even level, if that makes sense, because you've got all the minerals going to work. So their job is to go in and go hard and feed everything. All the workers basically
Yeah, yeah.
go in and feed it all, and then they're like, right, let's go. We're going to like break this down quicker and evenly and better. So if you can, like, every time if you're doing your compost at home, every time you put a little layer in, just chuck a sprinkle over the top.
Yep, great.
If you're turning it, give it a turn, chuck a little bit in, give it a turn as well. Every time you do that, you're literally creating better compost as you go, because you're feeding all the processes and the microbes and the biology happening in the compost. So it's,
That's
definitely a game changer.
awesome. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so good, Bec. And thank you so much for catching up to. Is there anything else you wanted to add? I feel like that was really what I was wanting to
Yeah.
it come from your mouth, rather than me trying to stumble through it, and
Oh,
just educate people like the importance of soil health. And we're about to obviously be starting new crops, so just
yeah.
yeah. So you can buy your product online. It's so cheap, like it's like
Yeah.
$45, and it lasts so
Goes
long.
so
And
long, doesn't
when
it?
I think about like
Mm-hmm.
even my cherry tomatoes, this little garden bed over
Yeah.
there, I've got
Yeah.
the amount of money I would have spent if I had the amount of cherry tomatoes I've
Mm-hmm.
eaten. I would have eaten $45 worth, in a morning.
Yeah.
Like, it's really, you
Yeah.
make your money back. Like, because people say, it's
100%.
expensive to garden in, but like
Yeah.
in the long term, these things are just they're so worth it. So 100%, like
Absolutely.
your rock dust is like, if you really want your vegetables to be
Yeah.
everything they can be, like this is really the key component of it.
And us, like, I just can't bang on enough, and this is what Dad said too. We can't make minerals. Our bodies just do, we can't make them. We literally rely on what is happening in the soil. And if we're not putting them in, we want to be able to feed our family, our friends, whoever, we're giving this beautiful produce to, hand on heart, we want to go, we're giving you the best possible produce we can give to you to make you healthy, well, and, vibrationally happy, those sorts of things. So minerals are certainly have to be part of what you're doing with anything you're growing. Not just veggies, it's all on anything really, but definitely with the vegetables, because we can't
We're
make
eating
it.
it.
We need them
That's
in our
right.
system. We need
I
to
know,
feel,
because
and
like,
like
I
we're
mean,
lacking it.
you make it sound so good, like we should be consuming it directly, but we can't. So put it through your vegetables.
Veggies first, through the soil,
It's
in.
so good. It's so good. It's like for people that just joined in, it's like it's
Yeah,
so light and fluffy, and it's just full of goodness.
yeah. And
So
super easy, literally.
so
Handful
easy.
out, done.
So
That's
easy.
it.
But I will post this as a replay so anyone that joined in a bit later on. But thank you so much, Bec.
Thank
We've been talking
you.
about doing a live for a little
We
while, and it's
have.
been just so lovely to connect
Yeah.
with you. And I just love your story with your dad and yourself and everything you guys are doing. And you're such a positive person, cheering like Dad and I on our journey as well.
Yes.
So thank you so much.
Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you for your support. And yeah, I just thrilled to connect with people who are just so joyfully happy to have a go growing things, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? Is having a go.
And that's what when I spoke to you a couple of days ago, just touching base, like the purpose of this video is just really for gardening
Yeah.
joy and sharing information about soil health, and that's the same as Keith.
Yeah.
Everyone's just like wanting everyone to succeed and have the best veggies possible.
And I think that's what our community does, don't we? We
Yeah.
lift each other up, and we're all here to support one another. And as I keep saying, like, so I have so many people come up to me all the time, and they just fear things. Like, it's like, oh, I can't grow things. I can't do it. And I'm like, but you can. You just need to literally just have a go. Just
Yeah.
get your hands in the soil, and you will not look back, because it is such a most thrilling thing to do, isn't it? And
Yeah.
like, how amazing does it feel to grow something? How amazing does it feel to then make a meal out of that and share it with the people you love? Like, I just can't think there's anything better in the world than that. So
Absolutely. And I just like, I'm a year in, and if it were the garden bed really is what got me started thinking, well, I can't sell garden beds if I'm not a gardener. Like, because I just thought I was born not a
yep,
gardener. My sister is a green thumb. My mum is great at gardening. And I just
yep,
thought, well, I wasn't born with that gene.
mm-mm,
And
mm,
you really just got to learn, make some
yep,
mistakes. Cause I just say, like, there's no mistakes. They're all learning opportunities. And I'm a
definitely.
year in, and I'm just like, just so proud of the kids and I, what we've done, and anyone can
Yeah,
do it, and it's just so rewarding. Like, it's like, I can't express it enough
mm,
just to give it a go. Whether you've got just one garden bed and you're just growing, what you can in your little backyard, or if you've got multiple, it does bring like a peace and joy to your
it
life. And then,
does.
having your
Yeah,
own veggies, like, and I love, like, because I work from
mm-hmm,
home, is that, it's lunchtime. I just take my little
yep,
basket out and see what I've got to eat
yep.
for the day. And nothing beats that.
No, and like we've chatted to about mental health. I've got
Yeah.
some family members that have mental health, and the
Yeah.
garden is such a
Yeah.
good stress relief. Like,
Yeah.
it is the best thing to literally get your hands in the soil, even just like take some aggression out and pull some weeds out. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can
Yeah.
do so much in that garden, and it really is a healing space, as well as wellness and all those beautiful things. But you only get those benefits if you start, don't you? You only
Yeah.
literally get that benefit if you just literally have a go. And no one is good at anything to start with. None of us. And I'm
Yeah.
still learning. Like, I've been Dad's little apprentice for 20 odd years, and there's still things that he just sidelines me with soil health. And I go, my God, never knew that. It's a forever journey for me, and
Absolutely.
it's amazing. Mm.
Oh, that's amazing, Bec. Well, you're an
Oh,
inspiration, and thank you
you
to your
are.
dad for starting this all, and both of you. Beautiful family, little business, and can't wait to hear about the seaweed
Yes,
products once you get that out, and we can maybe chat about that again.
definitely.
And thank you everyone for joining on, and I'll put this on as a replay. So thanks, Bec.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Joe.
you.
Thanks for
Okay,
having
bye
me.
everyone.
See
Thank
you.
you. Bye, Bec.
Bye.